Hey guys, it's Chris here. I just wanted to make this video. It's basically I've taken 25 movies that I own and I've watched and I've loved ever since I was a little kid, all the way through to today, from 1980 all the way up through to current day. And these are 25 films that I feel are either underappreciated or nobody knows about. And there are one or two films in this movie that obviously people have grow to love or they're more talked about today than they were originally. But we're going to start off this with the first three films are available on YouTube. You can watch them, but I actually have physical copies of all these movies, and this is going to be hopefully the first of many lists like this because I want to start highlighting other films that I think need to be seen or should be seen or I think deserve to be seen, right? The first one we're going to talk about, the first three are, like I said, the first three I'm talking about, DVDs or Blu-rays, are available on YouTube to watch. And the first one, two, three of them are all made for TV movies. Uh, and I'll go into a little bit more detail about all of them as I get to it. The first one is 1987. So number 25 is 1987's David. Here's the DVD that I have for it. It stars Bernadette Peters, John Glover, and Matthew Lawrence. And it's based on a true story about a young boy, David Rothenberg, and his mother, Marie Rothenberg, played by Bernadette Peters. His father, who is John Glover, kind of kidnaps him, promises him he's going to take him to Disneyland, and then he decides to burn him in a hotel room, and the boy survives the fire. And it's about that whole situation. Like I said, obviously the boy survived the fire, and he lived to be about 40. He lived to be in his 40s. I don't remember exactly when he died, but he died not a few years ago now. I want to say it was 2013 maybe or so. But yeah, this is you can find this on YouTube. This never had an official DVD release, but I got a fan made version of it, and I love this movie. I watch this pretty regularly. Like I said, it came out in '87, so I've watched this since I was 7 or 8 years old, and I love this movie. It's such a great film, and my mom also loved the movie too. Another movie that my mom loved was it was two movies in one, but when I first saw it, it was on a VHS tape in high school for a health class. And this movie, or these movies, they're based on true stories again. And it's two different movies. I believe they were released in 80 and 83. But when I was doing my research to make sure I was getting all the information right I could about this, some sites were saying the first movie was made in 81, not 80. But I must say 1980 and 83, and it stars Mickey Rooney, and it's Bill and Bill on His Own. Again, this is based on a true story. It also has Dennis Quaid and Helen Hunt in these. The first movie is basically stars Mickey Rooney as Bill, and Dennis Quaid as his friend Barry. And it's about this whole story is about Bill, who his real name the real name is Bill. It's either Sackett or Satchett. I don't remember his actual how he pronounces his last name, but he's essentially he spent the first 40 plus years of his life in hospitals and everything, and being not beat on, but you're really roughly treated and stuff. But he's has an underdeveloped mind. His mind is very childlike, right? And the first movie is about him becoming friends with Dennis Quaid's character Barry, and the second film is him on his own with their group home and stuff, and he's getting studied by Helen Hunt for a project. But yeah, this is a great movie. Like I said, when I first watched it in health class for high school, I told my mom about it, about this great movie I watched. This great, I thought it was all one movie when I first originally watched it because it was all on VHS, right? She was telling me how much she loved those movies and she would love to see them again. So I talked to the teacher and I got a copy of the VHS record, for my mom. And then later on, I found out it was on DVD, so I hunted it down. And this is not easy to find, but again, you can watch it on YouTube, and it's a great movie. It's about both movies together are about 3.5 hours long. And it's all based on a real life story. As a matter of fact, you can watch a documentary of the actual guy of Bill. And it's called A Friend Indeed, and it's on YouTube as well. The next film I want to talk about is number 23. It's another made-for-TV movie. It's the first of two different Christmas movies on this list, because I do enjoy Christmas movies just like a lot of other people, but this one I don't think anybody ever talks about. It was from 1984, and this is The Night They Saved Christmas. This is, again, it's a made-for-TV movie, but it's just a great film. Essentially, Santa and his elves need to stop basically, dynamiting from oil rigs up at the North Pole, right? That's essentially the overall plot of the story. But it's just a great film. It's such a fun time, and it's gives me holiday feels. I watch this every single year for the holidays. I make sure to watch it at least once, and I do know it's available on YouTube. Or at least the last time I checked, it was. Now I don't know if it's on any other streaming service or anything like that right offhand. But the DVD itself is kind of hard to get. Obviously, this one I had to get overseas, but this is a region-free DVD. And when I finally located a copy of it, I had to have it because I love this movie. It stars Jacqueline Smith, and Art Carney plays Santa. It's a great movie. Just a great movie. Next is 1985's Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon. This is just a fun movie. It's kind of a musical / martial arts film. It's kind of a tribute to Bruce Lee in a lot of ways. But this is just a fun movie. This is quintessential 80s. And, I have such a good time with this. And it's so fun because I am a fan of martial arts. I am a fan of Bruce Lee. And this is it's a great film. This has gained some traction and gotten more popular with time, and hopefully in the future it will even more popular. But yeah, 1985's The Last Dragon, or Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon. It's a great movie, and I highly recommend it. Right, number 21 is a film by Robin Williams and Shelley Duvall. This is 1980's Popeye. This is a musical, obviously, based off of Popeye the Sailor Man. This is amazing. It's not my favorite musical of all time, but I think this one gets overlooked a lot, and it's sad because the performances in this movie, and especially with Shelley Duvall as Olive Oyl, you can't get better than her Olive Oyl. I mean, she is spot on. I think Robin Williams does a great Popeye, and the overall attitude and the everything about this movie is it's just fantastic. It's just such a fun time, and the music, the soundtrack is good. I love the movie. Next is number 20 on my list is 1989's The Dream Team. This is obviously Michael Keaton, Christopher Lloyd. Essentially, the main four characters here are mental patients, and they're one of them has anger issues. The other one's like anal retentive. Another one can only quote baseball quotes or stuff they see on TV, and the other one thinks he's Jesus Christ, right? And essentially, these four are getting taken with their doctor to see a Yankees game, and something happened where the doctor gets knocked out and stuff, and they have to fend for themselves in New York. And it's just a great overall comedy, and it's just a fun time, and it's a good movie, and I never hear anybody talking about it. Next is 1989 again, and it's Fred Savage and Howie Mandel. It's Little Monsters. This movie is so fun. It's basically Howie Mandel plays Maurice, who is a monster. He's one of the monsters under the bed, right? This is before Monsters Inc. or anything like that. It's just a fun movie. If you're a, if you grew up in the '80s and early '90s, you know who Fred Savage is. If you know Deal or No Deal, you know who Howie Mandel is. This is just a fun, great comedy, good makeup effects, and good overall good effects in general. And it's just a fun time, and it's a movie that I've loved since I was a little kid, and I will love it for the rest of my life. I will continue to watch this. Little Monsters is just a great comedy. Speaking of, I don't want to call this a comedy, but again, it's another Fred Savage movie. Again, it's 1989, and it's The Wizard. This is the Shout Factory with the slipcover, but most people know it by this artwork, right? But yeah, The Wizard is it's essentially it's a good movie overall. It's a good story and a good message and stuff, but it's essentially a Nintendo commercial. You know, there's so much advertisements for like Nintendo and the original NES with Super Mario Brothers 3 is the first time you ever see that game. You know, the Power Glove, all this other stuff, and it's just a fun movie, and it's again a movie that I constantly go back to and I constantly watch. Next is number 17. It's 1994's, and it says Jodie Foster and Liam Neeson in Nell. This is really a very interesting movie. It's not a biopic by any means, but Nell plays, or Jodie Foster plays Nell, who is kind of a wild woman that was raised by a single mom in a cabin in the woods. You find out throughout the story that she was one of two twins, and she lost her twin sister around the age of 10 or so because of what happened to her mom before they were born and stuff. She has a very odd way to speak, and Liam Neeson plays one of the two doctors that befriend her and stuff, and try to figure her out. It's just it's such a great performance by Jodie Foster in particular. But the overall movie is it's a really good movie. It's a really good story. It's very gripping, and it's just an overall good movie, and it's really just overall a lot of great performances in this movie. I never hear anybody talk about it, but again, it was another movie that me and my mom really connected on, and I still watch it to this day, and I will continue to watch it. It's such a good movie. Next is a comedy from 1991, starring John Goodman and Peter O'Toole. It is King Ralph. This is just a fun time. It's quintessential. It's a early '90s cheeseball comedy. It's essentially Ralph is a Las Vegas like song and dance man. Well, mainly like a song singer, I guess you could say. And he finds out that he's the last living relative, and he has to become king of England. And it's just a really good comedy. John Goodman is great in this movie, and there's not very many movies that I've seen John Goodman in that I don't like, and this is definitely one of them that is. I think this movie does not get enough praise, and it does not get enough love, and it's just a fun time. Yeah, King Ralph. I highly recommend it. Next is I think the most recent film on this whole entire list. Yes, this is from 2015. This is a movie called Final Girls. The Final Girls. This is kind of almost a spoof on the Friday the 13th movies, but I don't really. I mean, there's funny situations and there's kind of a twist on the whole genre, but I don't really consider it a comedy per se. But I do see a lot of the similarities, and I do see a lot of it. But there's really a good, heartwarming story throughout about the main character missing and wanting to connect back with her mother that passed, and the a group of at present time, kids get trapped in an '80s film. It's a really interesting concept, and there's a really cool ending to this, and I really hope that they make more of these movies, but I don't know if they ever will. But this is just a great film, And I haven't heard enough people really talk about it, but it is. It's one of the. It's just if you love like slasher films in general, you're gonna love this movie. Next is from 1987. This is Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. It's a movie called Overboard. Essentially, you have Goldie Hawn's a spoiled, rich, spoiled debutante, whatever. She's a royal pain in the ass, basically. And I don't like to cuss, but uh, she treats Kurt Russell like crap early on, and something happens where she falls out of the boat. She loses her memory, and Kurt Russell decides he's going to get back at her and everything, and claim that she's his wife, and it's a rom com, and it's one of the better ones out there. It's just a fun time, and this is actually I think this is where he met. The two actually met. If it wasn't this movie, it was a movie. I think they were in one other movie before this, or they were in that movie after this. But they're still together to this day, and they're still, as far as I know, a happy couple. But this is a great movie. This is one of those movies that has grown in popularity, or I have heard more people start talking about it. And there's a few of these movies in here, but I still think this movie is underrated. I still think this movie doesn't get the love it should. So next is 1993, and it's Janet Jackson and Tupac Shakur. That's Poetic Justice. You think Janet Jackson and Tupac, you're going to think musical, rap music, but it's really not that. It's really just overall it's a good, just solid performances all around. It is a love story. It is I would say it's more of a rom com, but there is a lot of serious issues in this and a lot of serious tones in this. But it is overall it is a romance, and it is a great film, and a lot of good performances all around. And I don't hear enough people talking about this. So next is number 12, and this is 2001's star Mark Wahlberg and Jennifer Aniston and Rockstar. If you love 80s hair band metal, you're gonna love this movie. It's essentially there's a fictional band called Steel Dragon, and Mark Wahlberg is in a cover band of them, and the lead singer of Steel Dragon, who Mark Wahlberg impersonates or pays tribute to, decides to quit, and he goes out for the band, and he becomes the new lead singer of Steel Dragon. And it's him and Jennifer Aniston trying to stay together or trying to get through the whole situation of being an 80s rock star. So it's a good overall. There's a lot of great music, and it's just a great film, and it's just I love it, and I never hear anybody talk about it. Next is 1997, and this is Kevin Costner in The Postman. Now this is a pretty long movie. I'm not gonna lie. It is a post-apocalyptic movie, and it's just I think this is such an interesting idea, and it's really portrayed really well. And I don't like to give away a lot of the plot of the movies, but essentially, and this is a post-apocalyptic, and there's no postal service. Kevin Costner finds a mail truck, and he decides to impersonate a postman to get free meals and you know, food and shelter and such like that. But through impersonating a postman, he seems to bring hope and joy to people without really meaning to originally, and he inspires people, and in turn, it inspires him. It's a good movie. Next is another Mark Wahlberg. This is 2001, Planet of the Apes, the remake. I love this movie. I think this is the best Planet of the Apes movie personally. I think the effects in this movie, the makeup in this movie is by far superior to a lot of other movies out there. And I really think that, honestly, it gets overlooked a lot. And I can understand why people don't like this movie. I get it, but for me, it is a great film. It is one that I keep revisiting, and I have fun with this movie. It's just a good, solid entry in the Planet of the Apes movies. All right, that leaves us nine left. The next one, number nine, is 1993 biopic movie. It's Rudy. Rudy is a guy that just basically is a smaller guy, not the most gifted intellectual, not the smartest guy in the world, but his dream is to play for Notre Dame, and this is a movie about him working his butt off to make the team, and it's just a great movie. I really want the 4K of this. I just haven't got it yet, but yeah, great movie. I can't say enough about this. Next is 2011. And this is Jason Momoa in Conan the Barbarian. I love this movie. This is my favorite Conan movie. I don't care. I mean, I like the Arnold Schwarzenegger films, don't get me wrong. But when I think of Conan, when I think of Robert E. Howard's Conan, Jason Momoa is who I think of. This is Stephen Lang, Jason Momoa, Rose McGowan, and I can't remember who plays the main love interest. Let me see if I can't find it real quick. Rachel Nichols, I think is her name. Anyways, this is just this is to me the best Conan movie. Period. It looks the best. Some of the CGI effects in this are, dated by today's standard, but I personally love this movie. I really do, and I so wanted this to be a franchise. I really still want this to be a franchise. I still want more movies of this. We probably never will get them, but it's not for the lack of me trying. Conan the Barbarian, 2001. Check this movie out. It's awesome. I can't say enough about great things about it. Next is 1989. John Travolta and Kelly Preston, and this is The Experts. This is where John Travolta met the love of his life, Kelly Preston. This is just a great film. It takes place in 89, right? No, yeah, 89. Basically, you got two guys from New York who want to run a nightclub, and they get offered to run a nightclub where they think they're going to Lincoln, Nebraska, but actually they're going to Russia because Russia has a secret 1950s style town that they want to modernize. Good comedy, some good, decent action, but this is just a fantastic film. Nobody ever talks about this. Kino Lorber released a Blu-ray. Great film. I love it. Check it out. Next is 1988, another Kino Lorber release. I think this one's out of print, but it's David Keith, Tuesday Weld, and Charlie Slater. This is a movie called Heartbreak Hotel. This is a fictional movie about a kid kidnapping Elvis Presley for his mom. It's a great movie. If you like Elvis, this is a good fantasy movie about it, and overall, a lot of good performances. The soundtrack is awesome. And I've always loved this movie, and I've watched it since I was about 8 or 9, and I've always loved it, and I will always continue to love it. So Heartbreak Hotel, good movie. Next is probably one of the most controversial movies on this. It's from 1988, and again, it's essentially a McDonald's commercial with E.T., and that is the movie Mac and Me. I don't care what you say about this movie. I love this movie. I've loved this movie since I was a little kid. Is it E.T.? No. Is it as good as E.T.? Heck no. But if you go into the movie expecting it to be a bad movie or expecting just to have a good time with the movie, that's what you're going to get with this movie. I mean, it's Mac and Me. It catches a lot of grief. I know it. A lot of people consider it one of the worst movies out there. I don't see that, but I have fun with it. And I think it deserves a second chance. I think it deserves people to actually notice it and people to actually try it out. Mac and Me is a good solid movie. Next on this list is 1989. Hulk Hogan's first film. It's No Holds Barred. Zeus Tiny Lister. It's Hulk Hogan. It's wrestling. If you're a big fan of wrestling, you're gonna like this movie. There's a good, decent story in here, but it's just a fun time. I have a fun blast with this movie. I love this movie. I don't shy away from this movie. I do. I personally, I do love this movie. Speaking of wrestlers, the next movie is a Christmas movie starring Bill Goldberg, and I have two also, Bam Box Authentic prints for this movie. Two different ones. This is the movie Santa's Sleigh. This is just a fun movie. Essentially, you have Goldberg play Satan's son, Santa Claus, and he basically loses a bet to an angel. And since he lost the bet, he has to spend, I think it's 1,000 years, but it could be 10,000 years, being what everybody does know Santa Claus to be, the good, giving presents, all that stuff. And basically, this movie starts where his time is up, and he's able to go on a killing spree. And he's basically hunting down the angel and his family. And this is great action. Bill Goldberg is amazing in this movie, and it's just so fun. It is a Christmas movie that I will watch year round. I love this movie. I know there's some bad parts to it. I know it's sometimes cheesy. There's sometimes it's in a pocket in its own world. I love the story. I love the idea of the story. I love the costuming. I love everything about this movie. This movie, by far, is one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time. And it's just a great movie that I will watch year-round. Santa's Sleigh, 2005. No, 2003, my bad. Oh, wait, no, it's 2005. Yeah, 2005. Alright, the next movie is one that I do know has been really gaining back in popularity, and really a lot of people know it and love it now. But growing up, I loved it. 1987, it's The Monster Squad. This is a movie that I know has gained popularity, but I still think it's still underrated. I still think a lot of people overlook it, and I will go to my grave loving this movie. I love this more than I do love more The Lost Boys. It's one of my favorite 80s horror movies. I do. I love this movie, and I'm not afraid to admit that. Monster Squad. Now, the next movie and the last movie on this list is, without a doubt, in my opinion, a very underrated movie. It is one of the best performances you will ever find. It is based on a true story, and it is 1985's movie. Stars Cher, Sam Elliott, and Eric Stoltz. It is Mask. Here's the original DVD, the theatrical cut DVD. Here's the director's cut DVD. And I also have the awesome Umbrella Blu-ray with a custom VHS slip from VHS Slips covers on Instagram. This movie is one of the best movies I've ever seen. I don't care who you are, this movie is great. Cher's performance in this movie is by far one of the best performances I've seen from anyone. Like I said, there's two different versions of this movie, the theatrical and the director's cut. You can watch either one of them, and they're both a fantastic watch. The only reason I would say watch the director's cut is mainly because they changed the music, the soundtrack. Because originally the director had Bruce Springsteen songs in there, and they recorded it to the Bruce Springsteen songs because Eric Stoltz plays a guy his name is Rocky Dennis. He's the main character. He is Mask because he has, as you can see, he has I think it's a form of the Elephant Man syndrome, Leonidas, whatever you want to call it. But he looks weird, right? But Rocky's favorite singer of all time was, or is, Bruce Springsteen, and So the director's cut has those songs in there, but for some reason the theatrical cut they had to use a different singer and stuff, so they went with Bob Seger. But the theatrical cut is the movie that I grew up with. The director's cut, it's the same movie aside from the change of the music. There's only one scene added that I can tell, and it's a campsite scene where they do a Cher and Eric Stoltz do a little musical number of, I think it's Little Egypt is the name of the song. But this movie is by far, it's just such a good movie. This is criminally underrated. This is so far. I don't understand why people don't love this movie. I don't understand why people don't know this movie, because this movie is one of the best movies. Period. The story is fantastic. It's heart wrenching. This is one of the best movies, in my opinion. It's one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time. I cannot get over how much people do not know this movie. It is hard to get. It is hard to see on streaming service. So if you want to see it, you're going to have to get the DVD or the Blu-ray. Sadly, that's about the only way you can get it. And that's my first 25. Like I said, I do want to make another video. I will make future videos of this because there's a lot of other movies that I really think are really underrated or nobody knows about or nobody's talking about. I just really wanted to get this video out there. I really wanted to highlight at least these 25 movies. And I just wanted to get you guys to know about what other movies are out there. Maybe, there's a lot of great movies out there that some people have never even seen. And it's sad, but it is what it is, right? So if you like this video or you like any of my content, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, ring that notification bell so you know when I have my next video. Comment down below if you've seen any of these movies or if you have any other movies you want me to check out. I'm more than willing to check out any movie, whatever. I love movies. I love, trying to see what I think about a movie, right? Maybe I might love the movie. Maybe I might hate it. But I always love checking out new movies. And that's it for today. In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. And I'll catch you guys later.